Hey, it's Alisha here, and today I actually wanted to talk about inferiority complex and superiority complex, and that they're actually the same thing. They're two people who are holding the same energies. They're just one is trying to overcome it, and one is almost getting so overwhelmed and lost in it. And so their lives may look completely different, but there really is no difference between one or the other. And sadly, we live in a world that almost only values the seen and not the unseen, or the masculine alpha energies and not the feminine or omega energies. It's become a thing. Like, let's say someone were to fall asleep in class, they get made fun of for it. Or people judge people who are quote unquote lazy and not doing anything. It's because we live in a society where we've been taught not to value anything other than the masculine, taking action, the seen. People don't value anything that's in the unseen. Well, most people, that's where we're currently operating. But one is not better than the other. They are the same. Someone who has inferiority complex usually feels like they're not enough, and therefore they don't even try to do anything. Well, release the idea of trying for a second. They don't actually take any action. They're not inspired to take any action because they feel like they're not good enough, so what's the point anyways? I'm going to be judged, I'm going to be put down, I'm going to fail, so I just rather not do anything. That's actually not much different than someone who has superiority complex, who also feels like they're not good enough, so therefore they try to cover that up and overachieve and succeed more, get more degrees, create more businesses, work out harder. That's a big one. There's a lot of people that are actually motivated by the fact that they don't like their bodies. So that's why they work out so much and quote unquote have a nice body. But in order for them to actually have that nice body, it required a lot of hard work, and they could lose it in a second because it's coming from self-judgment. It's not coming from an inspired action. It's, I'm going to cover up how I'm feeling, how insecure, and how I feel like I'm not good enough, so therefore I'm going to do this thing, which is never going to create the most for you. A lot of people who do that actually end up putting on more weight if they're trying to lose weight, or the opposite, someone who's trying to put on weight, like a guy who's trying to get more buff. If they're doing it because they don't like the way their body looks, their weight will keep fluctuating. They won't actually be able to permanently keep that weight, their ideal weight, because of the way they're going about it, of covering up, I don't want to feel this way, so I'm going to do this action, rather than inspired action and working out because it brings you joy, because you feel like it. What if you could operate there instead? So instead of judging those that are lazy and valuing those that are quote unquote really successful, it would be really great if people could start to see that one is not better than the other. That masculine energies are no better than feminine energies. We do need to relax. We do need to sleep. We need to slow down. We can't be just taking action all the time. And these are two people who feel the same thing, who feel like they're not good enough. So when you see people like this, just send them more self-love and more compassion for the fact that they don't feel good enough, for that fact that maybe they've been through something in their life that makes them feel so insecure. They've had family members who have been hard on them, made them feel like they weren't good enough. So they've been constantly trying to overcome and achieve that so they don't have to feel that way, or have been so overwhelmed in the fact that what's the point of me even trying? They're the same. One is not better than the other. And let's say you're actually one of those people who's operating in one of those places and you're listening to this video and you'd like to actually do something differently. Maybe you'd like to have the energy to start taking an action. Or if you're someone who overachieves, maybe you realize that it's affecting your relationships and your health to constantly be working so hard, and if you feel like you're constantly just chasing the next thing all the time and you're not reaching true, fulfilled happiness. And if you'd like to release this, all it really requires is more self-love and compassion. You realizing that there's a part of you that feels like you're not good enough. You don't need to know where that came from. You don't need to know the root problem as to why you feel that way. You just need to bring awareness to that emotion rather than try to suppress it or avoid it. So tuning in more, bringing awareness to how you're feeling, letting yourself lean into those feelings of not feeling good enough rather than suppressing them. A common misconception is that if you let yourself feel it, it will take over, that you'll get lost in it, that it'll be so unbearable and it'll last forever. But that's actually not true at all. The more you embrace it, the easier and quicker it actually dissolves, and dissolves permanently. And therefore you no longer take action just because you want to cover up your feelings. You take action because it brings you joy, and it creates way more in your life when you're operating from there, from self-love and from compassion. So I hope that video was helpful, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe and hit the bell button if you want to be notified the next time I upload a video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.